Hey guys, it's Rocky Balboa 101 here with a new Sylvester Stallone movie review, and I'm going to be tackling the 2010 movie, The Expendables, which was written and directed by Sylvester Stallone. I just got back from seeing this movie with my family and Rob from Movie Review Time. He's going to be putting a review up also, so make sure to check that out. I really like this film. It was a classic throwback to the 1980s action movies, which we all know were in Sly's prime. I want to go ahead and talk about the characters. Sylvester Stallone, he played Barney Ross, and what can I say? It's Sylvester Stallone at his best. He's 64 years old. The man was awesome. I mean, he did his own stunts, and all his scenes were awesome. He has a fight with Steve Austin. That's one of the highlights of the movie in my opinion. Jason Statham, he plays Lee Christmas. He was great in the movie. I've actually always liked Jason Statham, and he didn't disappoint. In fact, I thought he did some of his better acting in this film, and also obviously his stunt work was great. Jet Li, he plays the character Yin Yang, and he doesn't get as much screen time as Sly and Jason, but he gets enough screen time to be developed, in my opinion, and he does his awesome action that he always does, and he's actually pretty funny in the movie. Dolph Lundgren, now he was a pleasant surprise to me. He plays Gunnar Jensen in the film. I had read things ahead of time. People were like, oh, he didn't do such a great job, and I actually was kind of worried. He did very good. I was very happy with Dolph Lundgren. He had actually very good character development, in my opinion, over some of the other characters. So, way to go, Dolph. Good job. Randy Couture, he plays Toll Road. He did what he came for. I mean, he had a little bit of character development, and obviously the whole point of bringing him in, he's a UFC 5-time world champion, so he was brought in to fight, and that's what he did. Terry Crews, he plays Hail Caesar, and I actually really like Terry Crews. He's had small parts in movies, but he's a really funny guy. He had some awesome artillery in the movie, with guns and explosions, and he was really funny. So that rounds out the Expendables. There are 6 Expendables in this movie, and Sly, Jason Statham, and Jet Li, they get good screen time, and so does Dolph Lundgren. Now, Terry Crews and Randy Couture, they were not in the movie very much. I wouldn't say they were underdeveloped. I just think there wasn't enough time. There were so many actors in this movie, but they did a good job. I thought all 6 actors they played their parts well, and hopefully if a sequel gets made, they'll get a little bit more drawn out as far as their characters go. Let's talk about some other characters. Eric Roberts plays one of the main villains in the movie, and he did a good job. I have nothing against Eric Roberts. I don't know him from a lot of movies, but he did a fine job. I didn't think he did a bad job. Stone Cold Steve Austin, it was in this movie. He barely has any lines, but he's such a menacing presence. I thought he definitely fit in this movie, and when him and Sly have a fight, it's just pure awesomeness. David Zayas, I think that's how you say it, he was the General Garza in the movie. He did a good job as one of the villains. Now, Mickey Rourke, he is a retired expendable, and he's kind of like runs the headquarters and sets up the jobs. I liked him in this movie. I mean, his presence is awesome. I mean, he was in, I think, 3 or 4 scenes, and I don't want to say he stole every scene, but like, he was the best actor in this film, in my opinion. Just the small parts he had, he did a really good job. So I kind of was wondering, I'm like, Mickey Rourke, I'm like, I hope he has something to do because of all the big names in the movie, but he did a good job. I gotta talk about the Sly, Bruce, and Arnold scene. This was definitely good. It had some good dialogue. They were all trying to raise the bar in the scene. You could tell they were all kind of like checking each other out, being like, who's a bigger badass? I'm a bigger badass. That was really cool. Bruce has a little bit more screen time than Arnold, but it was cool seeing all of them together, and Sly has already said hopefully he can get Arnold and Bruce for full-timers in Expendables 2 if it happens, so go see this movie if you haven't already. But what I liked about this movie, I loved the action. The action was great. Dolph Lundgren and Jet Li have an awesome fight in the movie. I thought that was one of the highlights of the film. Sly and Stone Cold have a great fight. I've talked about it already. That was cool. There's a cool car chase scene, and there's a couple little other action scenes thrown in. But the last like 20 minutes of the movie will blow you away. All of a sudden, they bring everything, and it's crazy. I mean, I was smiling and going, yeah, it was really fun. I really liked that part. I do want to talk about some of the things that people have been talking online about. People that have seen the movie and critics pretty much have said, oh, this movie they had underdeveloped characters and like, oh, there was no plot. The dialogue was cheesy, and I kind of want to give you guys my opinion on this kind of thing. First, the dialogue. I didn't find anything wrong with it. There was quite a few funny moments. There were only a couple jokes that I thought fell flat, but otherwise I thought it worked out fine. I didn't have any problem with the dialogue. So, I mean, if you liked, you know, kind of like the 80s talking back and forth, then you'll like the dialogue in the movie. So that's all I gotta say. Another thing people talked about was the story. They thought there wasn't any story to the movie, like a very thin plot. I guess that was the case. There was definitely a story there, but it was a very small story. But it's okay, because like I said, this is a throwback to the 80s movies, you know? I mean, like, you went into this not going into it for like a deep plot, like maybe the movie Inception. You went into it for like to see Sylvester Stallone kick ass, and that's what he did. So I'm all right with that part of it. Underdeveloped characters is something people have been mentioning they thought in the movie, and I have to agree a little bit. For instance, like I've said, Terry Crews and Randy Couture, they didn't really have much to do. The thing was, this is an ensemble picture, and that's all. When you have all these actors in a movie together, what can you do? You can only give so much screen time to people. But at no point was I like, oh man, like we don't know anything about that guy. So I didn't have a problem with that. I would like to talk about a couple things that I disliked about the movie. One thing was Sly used what they call shaky cam in some of the action sequences, and sometimes it was kind of hard to follow what was going on. You always knew something was going on, and you know what the basic premise of what was going on, but sometimes it was almost a little too shaky. Now, the only other complaint I would have for this movie would be the use of CGI. There wasn't a lot of CGI, but when there was definitely a couple times where it kind of took me out of the movie. I don't have anything against CGI, but there was a couple times where it was very blatantly CGI, in my opinion, and it kind of pulled me out of the movie a little bit. These are minor things. These are minor things that I'm mentioning, the CGI and the shaky cam. Other than that, I really love the movie. That's pretty much all I have to say. I mean, this was an awesome action movie. If you love the old action movies, you're going to love this. Go see it. Okay, guys, 1 out of 10. I give this movie an overall 8, which in my opinion means it's a great movie. So go see The Expendables. Check it out.